This conference will now be recorded.
So today we will discuss about managing table space. So as we know that what is the use of table space and what is the purpose of the table space. So basically table space is a logical thing and it is a database storage unit that groups related to logical structure together, and in the table space data files are stored. So basically data file is a physical thing and table space is a logical thing. And what is the guidelines for managing table space? So we have two guidelines. One is use multiple table space and assign table space quotas to user. So what is the meaning of multiple table space? Multiple table space means we can create table spaces for different type of work. Like for user data, we will create users table space. For indexing, we can create index table space. So if we have more storage, so we can create multiple table space to give more flexibility in performing database operations. Minimum we have system table space and sysocs table space, and those are related to database operations actually. So user data we will not store in these two table spaces, and we had temporary table space, we had undo table space, and after that we will create user table space and index table space, etc. So it depends. And after creating a table space, we assign the table space quota to user. Means we can grant the user who will be creating table space in the tables, indexes, materialized view, or normal view, and other objects. Okay, so we will give the space allowance, or you can say limit in the table space to hold the object segment. Okay, and use multiple table space basically allows you more flexibility in performing database operations. So when a database has multiple table space, so we can separate user data from dictionary data to reduce IO congestion, and separate data of one application from the data to a data of another, to prevent multiple application from being affected if suppose one table space must be taken offline, and stores the data files of different table space on different disk drives to reduce IO contention, and take individual table space offline while other remain online. So it will provide better availability, and we can optimize table space use by reserving a table space for a particular type of database usage, such as high update activity, read-only activity, or temporary segment storage. And backup of individual table space is easy. So some operating systems set a limit on the number of data files that can be opened simultaneously. So such limit can affect the number of table space that can be simultaneously online. So to avoid these things, your operating system limit. So plan your table space efficiently. Create only enough table space to fulfill your needs, and create these table space with as new files as is possible. Okay, so if you must increase the size of table space, then you have to add one or more data file, or you can say you can create data file with auto extension enable, but that is not a good practice if you have limited storage. And you can review the table spaces time to time when you are working in your database. So these are the related information about table space. Any questions? Only two people. Very strange. Excuse me. Now assign table space quota to user. So already we discussed. Then uh, suppose we are creating PL/SQL object like packages, procedures, and functions. So user required to table space quota to create these PL/SQL objects or not? Yes, please answer. No, we already give the table space quota to user. So no explicit table space quota is required to create these PL/SQL object. Only need the privileges to create the objects. That is the answer. Okay, so assigning table space quota to user. So we will assign a quota to user who can create, like I said, indexes, views, materialized views, tables. Okay, and that's it. And creating table space. So to create a new table space, you can use create table space command or create a temporary table space command. You must have the create table space system privileges to create a table space. So that is the only rule about creating a table space. So creating a table space, as I said, you create a table space to group related logical structures such as tables and index together, and the data files are stored in that particular table space. Okay. Now, before you can create a table space, you must create a database to contain it. The primary table space in any database is the system table space, which contains information basic to the function of the database server, such as data dictionary and the system rollback system segment. And the system table space is the first table space created at database creation time, and it is managed as any other table space but requires a high level of privileges and is restricted in some ways. So you cannot, can you drop a system table space, or you can rename a table space, guys? So you cannot rename or drop the system table space or take it offline. And the second table space, that is sysox table space, which is introduced in 10G and which is an auxiliary table space to the system table space. And it is also always created when you create a database, and it contains the schemas used by various Oracle product and features, and those products do not require their own table space. So system table space management of the sysox table space require high level of security. So you cannot rename or drop it, and the management of so these two table space is very important about. Okay, any questions? Excuse me. And there is a third, you can also use create undo table space statement to create a special type of table space called an undo table space, which already we discussed. And we know that these are the table space which is used to roll back or undo changes to the database, or for recovery, read consistency, or as requested by rollback segment. Okay, and the steps for creating table space vary by operating system. But the first step is always to use your operating system to create a directory structure in which your data files will be allocated. On most operating system, you specify the size and fully specify the name of the data file when you create a new table space, or you are altering an existing table space by adding data file, whether you are creating a new table space or modifying an existing one. So the database automatically allocate and formats the data file which are specified in your command. Okay, guys. So we had create a table space command, we had create temporary table space command, we had create undo table space command. So these are the three commands you can say you can use for creating a temporary table space and creating undo table space, and you can use alter table space or alter database statement to alter the table space. Okay, and but you have system privileges for that, otherwise you cannot do that. Now, earlier we knows that we had two types of table spaces. One is locally managed and one is dictionary managed. So locally managed table space is what? So locally managed table space uses a bitmap stored in each data file to manage the extent. Got it, guys? Have you heard this? Um, So wherever the user created by default, that user also fall in that table space. Whatever the table space you assign to that user, and after login by that user, whatever object you are creating, it will be stored in that assigned table space. Okay. Locally managed table space, and what other managed table space you heard, guys? Answer me, please. Dictionary managed table space. Okay. So locally managed table space track all extend information in the table space itself by using bitmap. I already said that. And what are the local managed table space benefit? So it is fast, concurrent space operation, space allocation and deallocation modify locally managed resource, and bitmap is stored in header files, enhanced performance, readable standby database are allowed because locally managed temporary table space do not generate any undo or redo. Space allocation is simplified because when the auto allocate clause is specified, the database automatically select the appropriate extent size, and user reliance on the data dictionary is reduced because the necessary information is stored in the file header and bitmap blocks, and you can coalesce free extent is unnecessary for local managed table space. All table space, including the system table space, can be locally managed. Okay. And there is a package which provide maintenance procedure for a locally managed table space. So what is that package, guys? Anyone? Answer me. Yes, please. So the DBMS underscore space underscore admin package basically provides maintenance for locally managed table space. So please remember that. So for creating a locally managed table space, what you will use actually in the clause, guys? Anyone? See, creating a locally managed table space by specifying local in the extend management clause of the create table space statement. And this is the default for new permanent table space, but you must specify the extent management local clause to specify either the auto allocate clause or the uniform clause. So you can have the database manage extent for you automatically with the auto allocate clause, or you can specify the table space management with uniform extent of a specific size. So if you expect the table space to contain objects of varying sizes, require many extent with different extent sizes, then auto allocate is the best choice. And auto allocate is also a good choice if it is not important for you to have a lot of control over space allocation and deallocation, because it simplifies the table space management. Some space may be wasted with this setting, but the benefit of having Oracle database manage your space most likely outweighs this drawback. So if you want exact control over unused space and you can predict exactly the space to be allocated for an object or objects and the number and size of extent, then uniform is a good choice. So this setting ensures that you will never have unusable space in your table space. So got it, guys? So when you do not explicitly specify the type of extent management, so Oracle determined extent management in certain ways. So if the create table space statement omit the default storage clause, then the database create a locally managed auto allocated table space. If the create table space statement include a default storage clause, then the database consider this rule. What is the rule? If the specify the minimum extent clause, the database evaluates whether the value of minimum extent initial and next are equal and the value of PCT increase is zero. If it's so, the database create a locally managed uniform table space with extent size equals to initial. If the minimum extent initial and next parameter are not equal, or if PCT's increase is not zero, then the database ignores any extent storage parameter and you must specify and creates a locally managed auto allocate table spaces. Okay, if you do not specify minimum extent clause, then the database evaluates only whether the storage value of initial and next are equal and PCT increase is zero. If so, the table space is locally managed and uniform. Otherwise, table space is locally managed and auto allocated. So these are the rules, or you can say conditions, when you are not specifying the extent management clause in your table space creation. So please remember these things. So better you can specify. Now, I'm just showing one command which you have done in long. So create table space name, data file, size, extent, management, local, and then auto allocate. So this is the one way you can create a table space actually. And here I'm specifying auto allocate. So auto allocate causes the table space to be system management or system managed with the minimum extent size of how much KB, guys? Anyone? How much KB it will allocate for minimum extent? Answer please. 64 KB, guys. And what is the alternate allocate is uniform. If suppose you are using only uniform clause and you are not specifying any size, then what is the default value, guys, for uniform case? Have you tried this, whatever I'm talking about? See, when you are using auto allocate, there's a minimum extent size of 64 KB. And if you are not using auto allocate, if you are giving uniform, and after that you are not giving size, so it will take 1 MB. Okay, so the following example, create a table space with uniform 128K extent, which are showing in blue. And in a database with 2K blocks, each extent will be equivalent to 64 database block. So each 128K extent represented by a bit in the extent bitmap of this data file. Okay, you cannot specify the default storage clause, minimum extent, or temporary when you explicitly specify extent management local. So to create a temporary locally managed table space, use the create temporary table space statement. And when you allocate a data file for locally managed table space, you should allow space for metadata used for space management. So the extent bitmap or space header segment, which are part of user space. Suppose if you specify the uniform clause in the extent management clause, but you omit the size parameter. As I said, the default extent size is 1 MB. So in that case, the size specified for the data file must be larger than 1 MB. Okay. And what is segment space management, guys? Yes, guys. What is segment space management? Guys, you are not replying. You don't know what is segment space management? See, in a local table space management or locally managed table space, there are two methods that Oracle database can use to manage segment space. Excuse me. Excuse me. One is automatic and one is manual. So manual segment space management uses a linked list called free list to manage free space in the segment. while automatic segment space management uses bitmap. So automatic segment space management is the more efficient method and is the default for all new permanent locally managed table space. Okay, so automatic segment space management delivers better space utilization than manual segment space management, and it is also self-tuning in that it scales with increased number of users or instances. And in rack environment, automatic segment space management allows for a dynamic affinity of space to instances. Okay, in addition, for many standard workload application, performance with automatic segment space management is better than performance of well-tuned application using manual segment space management. Okay, and automatic segment space management is the default for all new permanent locally managed table space, and you can also explicitly write that segment space management auto clause when you are creating a table space. And the segment space management manual clause disable automatic segment space management, and the segment space management that you specify a table space creation time applies to all segments subsequently created in a table space, and you cannot change segment space management mode of a table space. Okay, and if you set extend management to local uniform, then you must ensure that each extend contains at least 5 database block. If you set extend management to local auto allocate, and if the database block size is 16K or greater than, then Oracle manage segment space by creating extend with minimum size of 5 blocks rounded up to 64 KB. And can we specify segment space management for system table space, guys? Automatic segment space management, can we specify for system table space? What about Krishna? I think no. Oh. You cannot specify automatic segment space management for the system table space, guys. And locally managed table space is using automatic segment space management can be created as a single file or big file table space, guys. It will be created for both actually. Okay. And Lakshmi asked, fragmentation take care? No, it will not actually reduce all the fragmentation issues, but it will help in reducing fragmentation like row migration or chain rows due to row exploitation may still cause fragmentation. So fragmentation can occur at different level, including the operating system or storage level. Okay. So for fragmentation, you can use different methods which we have, like table redefinitions or table space management techniques or segment reorganization. Okay, so overall it will manage the segment space basically. Okay, clear, Lakshmi? Okay, so today I'm stopping here because only two people, guys, you are. Okay, rest. We will continue on next session, which is on 19. Single file write means what is single file write? Means it is for single data file as well as big data file both. Yes. So locally managed table space using automatic segment space management can be created as single file or big file also. Okay. So next we will discuss big file table space, about big file, how to create a big file, how to identify a big file, and excuse me, table space attributes and encrypted table spaces. So how to create encrypted, how to view encrypted, then temporary table space, about temporary table space mechanism, and creating a local managed temporary table space. Can we create a big file temporary table space? So we will see, and temporary table space groups, and how to create, how to changing members of a temporary table space. Okay, so these are the things, and also non-standard block sizes for the table space, and taking table space offline, online, so that we will, and read-only table space. So what are the things we need to do? And yes, increasing the size, altering the sizes of table spaces. So these are the things we will discuss, and renaming table space, dropping table space, and yeah, lots of things we will discuss in next sessions. And what are the views where we can see these table space informations. Okay, guys. So table space is a very big chapter actually. So that's why I'm going slow so that you can understand better. Clear? So that's it from my side. If you have any questions, you can ask.